Hey, so I have in front of me a Treasure Planet fanfic, and I've been wanting to do Treasure Planet for a little while now, so I'm doing it tonight. I'm pretty excited. Yeah, so it's called Treasure Hunters by Unorthodox Yo-Yo, and there are two people that kind of consistently go back and forth, so I'll be alternating voices. It involves Silver and a mysterious man, and it's been a while since I've heard Silver's voice or even seen Treasure Planet. It's like, it came out in 2002, and as I'm filming this, it's 2018, and it's about 16 years ago. So I have no clue what Silver sounds like, but I'm gonna give him my best pirate voice. So do forgive me if it does not sound anything like him. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. Silver had been spacing out about the outer edges of the galaxy since the voyage to Treasure Planet. It had been a little over a year, and Silver was enjoying a quiet drink at a little spaceport bar. The little bar was relatively quiet that night. There was a small group of men over by the fire laughing amongst themselves, and an old salamander passed out on the bar. Besides those few people, Silver was totally alone in the bar. Silver kept glancing up at the group of 5 men sitting by the fire. One of them looked vaguely familiar, yet Silver was certain he had never seen this man before. Silver couldn't help but catch the word treasure come from the group of men who were talking amongst themselves. They were swapping treasure stories. He could tell by the tone in their voices. "This cargo was taken off a merchant ship," one man was saying. He had a high squeaky voice and about 20 eyes that popped up from the top of his head. 10 pounds of gold doubloons, or dribloons, my bad. The pirate who made off with it, they say didn't make it out alive. They said he hid his loot before he got caught, somewhere near Montresor. Silver caught himself smiling at the name. Montresor. Long John Silver's gone soft, he thought to himself. "Hey Matt, didn't you live on Montresor once?" Silver noticed that Matt was the familiar-looking man, and now he realized why. The man from Montresor was a human, with brown hair and a firm jaw, a passive look that told the world he was confident in himself, a look that reminded him of a certain cabin boy. "I was trying that whole domestic scene there," Matt said. "I was married, even had a kid, but that just wasn't my thing. I needed to be spacing, exploring, looking for treasure and the like. Years ago I left and never looked back." This was met by laughter from the other men. Silver's eyes narrowed at the man, and the mechanical eye glowed. This went unnoticed from the men, though. "Perhaps we can find that treasure," the first guy said again. "Specifically since you know the area." Matt shrugged in response. "Makes sense that the treasure would be there," another man spoke up. "Wasn't there a pirate attack about a year ago?" "That there was," Silver spoke up, loudly from across the bar. "Pardon me, don't mean to intrude on your conversation. You needn't be worried about me bothering in on your treasure search." Silver walked over to the group, noticing their eyes widen, taking in his mechanical half. He was used to that by now, and also knew how to utilize that initial intimidation to his advantage. "That pirate raid had nothing to do with the treasure you're speaking of, though. They're looking for a map." Silver sat himself down on one of the empty chairs. The men looked at him quixotically. "A map to Treasure Planet." "How would you know that?" one of the men asked. He was a strange-looking fellow with blue skin and 4 legs. He was eyeing Silver skeptically. "'Cause I was part of the crew that sailed out to Treasure Planet. I was the cook on the boat, and the boy who found the map was the cabin boy," Silver said, once again his cyborg eyes shining. "Don't suppose any of yous has ever heard about that particular voyage?" "I heard about it," Matt spoke up. "Heard they found it, and they weren't able to take anything back with them." "Where'd you hear that now, I wonder?" Silver asked him. "Typical news," the man replied coolly. "Heard it while spending the night in Spaceport, near Dribloon Nebula." "So you wouldn't be knowing who that boy was at all?" Silver couldn't help but ask. No. Silver waved his hand. Didn't think you would, he said dismissively. But I tells you, that was one heck of a cabin boy. Never met one so clever, says I. Granted taught him everything he knows. Silver made a proud tip to his hat. When you know it, but half the crew of the RLS Legacy happen to be pirates, laying on mutiny in order to steal that treasure. Pirates? The blue-skinned man said, with a touch of awe in his voice. Silver chuckled to himself. Aye. Silver could tell now that he had the attention of the men, and being an experienced storyteller, he knew how to hold that attention. We sailed for weeks, we did, in this cabin boy. I can tell the kid is just about lost on his feet the moment I sees him. I think the boy had a death wish, picked a fight with one of the more violent of the crew. I'd teach the lad a thing or two, but it weren't long before that kid doing great things. Saved me life when we flew too close to a supernova. Silver realized he was grinning, despite himself at the memory of the lad. He paused briefly, wondering how Jimbo was doing now. I took him out on a boat. Longboat one day. Kid has talent. If I could maneuver a longboat like that when I was his age, they'd be bound in the streets when I walk by today, says I. At the first sight of the legendary planet, pirates turned mutinous. It didn't take long for the pirates to capture the loyal crew, the boy being among them. As it were, though, only this boy could figure out how to get the blasted map open. It also just so happens that the leader of the mutinous pirates has also developed a soft spot for this boy. Pirates ended up taking the boy with them as they went over to find Flint's trove. Did they find it? Oh, sure. Loads of thousands of worlds doesn't come close to the amount of treasure that was stashed in that planet. The center of that planet was solid, near solid gold. The pirates, being completely distracted by their gold lust, didn't notice the cabin boy after they got onto the trove. Flint's old ship, still laden with gold, was amongst the treasure, and the boy, clever as a whip he was, got it started. It was just about that time, too, that the booby trap started going off. Flint, the old devil, didn't want anyone ever steal his treasure, so he rigged the planet to blow up should anyone ever enter his trove. The men were all leaning forward by now. Few things got the attention of the wandering sort than stories of treasure and exploding planets. It weren't a pretty sight, lads, Silver said. Most of the pirates fell into the oblivion of the center of the planet. Laser beams were cutting through everything. It was at that point I noticed the boy had started up the boat, and I says to myself, I can escape with my life and get me treasure. The men, so enraptured with the story, didn't realize that Silver was now including himself with the pirates. So I board the ship, and I can tell the boy's scared. After all, I betrayed his trust, mutinous pirate and all. Kid threatens me, tells me to stay back. Though I gone soft, I weren't that soft. Not every bit of mine to tie Kid up and ship off with me gold. That was when the lasers got to us. We were both thrown off our feet. The lad was sent flying from the ship and nearly fell into the oblivion. I sees him slip in, I grab onto the boat with me claw here. I try to reach the lad, but I can't. The boy slips farther and blasts me for a fool, but I let go of that boat and grabbed that boy before he fell, and we got right out of there. Good thing too, 'cause in the end, it was that lad that figured out how to get us all away from that planet before it blew us all to Kingdom Come. By thunder, that lad will grow to do more great things for this galaxy than the loot of 1,000 worlds ever could. Silver was beaming by the end of his story, thinking on the fact that the last time he'd heard from Jimbo, the lad had entered Interstellar Academy. The men were all in awe. All of them had heard of the legendary treasure planet voyage before, but none of them had heard of an account from someone who had actually been there. Matt laughed, obviously impressed by Silver's account of the voyage. You seem very proud of this kid. Is he your son? Silver then frowned at the man fiercely, his cyborg eye glowing at the man who abandoned Jimbo. Matthew was taken aback by the sudden hostility. No, Master Wilkins, Silver said, standing to leave. The man's eyes widened at the knowledge the stranger knew his name. No, Master Wilkins. He's your son. Okay. That was the story. and hope you guys like it. Bye.